How has the Care Act affected social work practice? Just to mention that a good book and some of the places that I've taken this information from are from Alison Brammer's law book. The Care Act replaces previous law that was created in a piecemeal fashion. It brings everything together for better transparency. You could reference some specific differences between the Care Act and the community care law. Previously, there were high thresholds for intervention, which varied between councils. And people sometimes said that it was like a postcode lottery if you get support or not. People are now eligible for assessment if they have an appearance of need for care and support. The duty to promote well-being is principle one. So we have to begin with the assumption that the person is best placed to judge their own well-being. The Care Act brings with it a strong human rights approach. It places emphasis on prevention being key to delay people's needs for care and support. What that means in practice is that we need to be more proactive rather than reactive. There's a shift from seeing what service someone fits into to personalised support. People need more choice and control, and the Care Act requests local authorities to provide a market of care. That means that we're not looking at care management. While social workers have sometimes just felt that they were brokers of care, we're now looking at things a bit more creatively and trying to be more person-centred about getting a package or of support that will suit that individual. There's an emphasis on services such as reablement and occupational therapy and things like that, just to help with that preventative side. The Care Act provides a statutory basis for the assessment if someone appears to have needs. So we need to look at the eligibility criteria. It might be useful for you just to know that in the interview. The Care Act provides a duty to make inquiries regarding safeguarding concerns under Section 42. That's important to remember. It also puts carers on an equal legal footing. You need to make sure that you're mentioning this because that was a key part of the Care Act, the emphasis placed on carers and their role. You also need to think about, as part of that, whether carers want to continue to provide care and support for the person they're involved with supporting. The Care Act is more person-centred than previous law. In theory, it's because there's more emphasis on direct payments. People can manage the finances themselves or appoint someone to do this on their behalf. There's more emphasis on integrated working, so that includes working with partner agencies and the NHS to provide better support for the individuals we're involved with. There's a duty on local authorities to make sure that people get independent advocacy if the person has substantial difficulty being involved in the assessment process. I just wanted to place emphasis on this. Advocacy is really important to bring up within the interview because that is another key part of the changes. The financial assessment, people need to know about the care costs, and then also that we need to maximise finances. The language of the Care Act is different than previous law. We're not looking at people as vulnerable adults, we're looking at the need to make inquiries. We're not investigating, we are working towards outcomes the person considers important. There's an emphasis on giving information and advice, so that includes signposting to other things available in the community. You might find that it's useful just to know a couple of the sections, just off by heart, section 9 and 10, but also the Care Act did introduce safeguarding adults boards, so it might be useful to be aware of that. It introduced new guidance on types of abuse. Now this bit is really important, so you need to know that they introduced domestic violence, modern slavery, organisational abuse and self-neglect, because it might be that you're asked a specific question on that area. I'm not saying that I've included absolutely everything there that you might need to know, but I do think this is quite an extensive list. Some good resources you can look at are the Social Care Institutes of Excellence website, and like I said earlier, the Brammer book's really good as well.